Thundercloud here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame. Welcome to Wednesday Words on this very special day. Yeah, let's have some fun and linguistic games. Everybody knows my mum calls me James. Right, tonight, why is it special? It's the 2nd of July 2025. Are you alive or not? If you are, you'd know today is the quarter way through the 21st century. Yes, today we're officially closer to 2050 than we are to the year 2000. Wow, how about that? All right, well, here in Gyra today, it's been rather cool, a little brisk, and it's a positively balmy 6 degrees at the moment. And it feels like minus 1.3. Well, it's very showery. It's a few showers, but it's very windy. And the wind is whooshing and wishing and swooshing and smashing and breaking and crashing and all of that kind of thing. And yeah, it's great. So because it's such a, for some people, miserable day, I think they're probably going to stay inside tonight and stay away from Wednesday Words. So I thought I'd just get on with the show. You know, I'm a cloud. I don't care if it's cold. In fact, I live way up there in the sky where I fly in the cold, waving to you, going boom as I go by with my rain, washing away the garbage and leaving rainbows after pain. Yeah, you know, thunderclouds do that kind of thing. But tonight, I thought it's like, wow, people, right? We're all people that live on one planet. And being the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame, like I've lived in China, I've met a few American people and Chinese people around my time and English people and people from all around the world because I used to be an English as a second language teacher in TAFE. In fact, I've taught over 120 different nationalities English in Australia. That's like, wow. Yeah, and none of them spoke English. And they all want to fit in. But hey, governments, don't they just meddle in everything, you know, and just put a spanner in the works, you know, with their boom, boom, boom and their bang, bang, bang and their, you can't do this because we're so clever, we know what's best for you. We know what's in your best interest. My best interest. You know what? You don't know what's in my best interest. But anyway, as Tony from LC Glass would say, let's get on with the poetry show. And I'm not gay. I'm straight. Even though when I was young, they called me faggot. But hey, I don't care. Men wear that as a badge of honour. Yeah? Who hasn't been called gay? Right. So tonight, I'm going to celebrate some Chinese poetry, some English poetry with Spike Milligan, why not? And a wonderful Australian who very few people might know, unless you're in the poetry world, is Bruce Beaver, a wonderful poet from long ago, well, last century, not this one, not the 2000s, no, the 1900s. And so Bruce Beaver, we'll be doing a bit of his poetry, but he was very farly recognised, recognised far and wide, right around the world, well, in a couple of literary circles, maybe, perhaps. Yeah, well, so I've heard, but that's, hey, hearsay. Yeah, so Bruce Beaver, let's get on with the show, and we'll start with some Chinese poetry. Now, the book that I'm reading out of is called Chinese Poems, put together by Arthur Waley. He was compiled and translated by Arthur Waley, who was a distinguished authority on Chinese language and literature, a translated genius. So I've just picked out a few here from different times and let's go. Well, I figured I'd start with a windy poem because it is the middle of winter. Well, it's also the quarter of the way through the century. This one's called The Autumn Wind. It was by Wu Ti, who lived from 157 to 87 BC, so before Jesus even. He was the sixth emperor of the Han dynasty. He came to the throne when he was only 16. In this poem, he regrets that he's obliged to go on an official journey, leaving his mistress behind in the capital. He's seated in his state barrage surrounded by his ministers. And this is called Autumn Wind. Autumn wind rises, white clouds fly, grass and trees wither, geese go south. Orchids all in bloom, chrysanthemums smell sweet. I think of my lovely lady I can never forget. Floating pagoda, boat crosses Fen River. Across the midstream, white waves rise. Flute and drum keep time to sound of rowers' song. Amidst revel and feasting, sad thoughts come. Youth's years, how few, age, how sure. The Autumn Wind by Wu Ti, the sixth emperor of the Han dynasty. Old poem. At 15, I went with the army. At 80, I came home. On the way, I met a man from the village. I asked him who there was at home. That over there is your house, all covered with trees and bushes. Rabbits had run in at the dog hole. Pheasants flew down from the beams of the roof. In the courtyard was growing some wild grain, and by the well, some wild mallows. I'll boil the grain and make porridge. I'll pluck the mallows and make soup. Soup and porridge are both cooked, but there is no one to eat them with. I went out and looked towards the east, while tears fell and wetted my clothes. A lament, hey, of life. Regret. A regret, old poem. So moving on from the Chinese poets and setting up here in the Seahorse Medicine Cafe, where it's slightly warmer on this quarter of the way through the 21st century, we've got Spike Milligan. Now, Terence Allen Spike Milligan was born in April 1918 and passed away on the 27th of February 2002. He was an Irish comedian, writer, musician, poet, playwright and actor. And his parents moved out here to Australia and set up home at Woy on the New South Wales coast. Milligan was the co-creator and the main writer and the principal cast member of the British comedy radio program The Goon Show, and he had a number of roles in that. He also influenced the Monty Python Flying Circus people. But yeah, he published a number of books, but this one of his little known books was also when he was in depression, which was one of the things that he did suffer from throughout his life, even though he was a very funny guy. And it's called Small Dreams of a Scorpion, first published in 1972. So that's over, 53 years ago now. And the illustrations are by Lauro Milligan. This book's dedicated to his mother, who spent a lifetime dedicated to him. And one of the things about Spike Milligan is that he really commented quite a lot, as most poets do, on politics. Particularly was not fond of war, and his main books, Adolf Hitler, My Part in His Downfall, were about his, and Mussolini, My Part in His Downfall, were about his role, Spike Milligan's role, during World War II. And this is called The Soldiers at Lauro in Italy, written in Italy, 1943. Young are the dead, like babies they lie. The wombs they blessed once, not healed dry. And yet, too soon, into each space, a cold earth falls on colder face. Quite still they lie, these fresh reeds, clutched in earth like winter seeds. But these will not bloom when called by spring to burst with leaf and blossoming. They will sleep on in silent dust as crosses rot and memories rust. This next one here was written in Italy in 1944. It's called Death Wish. Bury me anywhere, somewhere near a tree, some place where a horse will graze and gallop over me. Bury me somewhere near a stream. When she floods her banks, I'll give her thanks for reaching out to me. So bury me in my childhood scene. But please don't burn me in Golders Green. This one was written in Tunisia in 1943 on observing a lone eagle in the sky from a trench in Tunisia. So this was during the war. A bird, a flight, her wings spread wide, the soul of a man with his bonds untied. Beyond the plough, the spade, the hod, the bird flies in the face of God. Yet we, with reason, bright as day, forever tread an earth-bound clay. Tunisia, 1943. Like a lot of veterans, Spike Milligan did suffer mental health problems, and he was in the St Luke's Hospital psychiatric wing in 1953 and 1954 when he wrote this one called Manic Depression. The pain is too much. 1,000 grim winters grow in my head. In my ears, the sound of the coming dead. All seasons, all sane, all living, all pain. No opiate to lock still my senses. Only left the body locked, tenses. Manic Depression by Spike Milligan. Here's one. This one doesn't have a date on it, and you can see it's been written in pen and then on this side as well. It's called Myxomatosis, which is a disease that they introduced to Australia to control the rabbit population. Myxomatosis. A baby rabbit with eyes full of pus is the work of scientific us. Myxomatosis. Me. Born screaming into this world, living I am. Occupational therapy twixt birth and death. What was I before? What will I be next? What am I now? cruel answer carried in the jesting mind of a careless God. I will not bend and grovel. When I die, if he says my sins are myriad, I will ask why he made me so imperfect. And he will say, my chisels were blunt. And I will say, then why did you make so many of me? Bethlehem Hospital, Highgate, 1966, by Spike Milligan. So this next one I've got here is called Opus I. This silent call you make, a silence so raging loud, I fear the world knows its meaning. If you fill every corner of a room, where can I look? If I close my eyes, the silence becomes louder. There is no escape from you. The only way out is in. On a train to Bournemouth, February 1967. This is called Oberon, and it's written in Bournemouth, February 1967, during a nervous breakdown. Oberon. The flowers in my garden grow down. Their colour is pain. Their fragrance, sorrow. Into my eyes grow their roots, feeling for tears, to nourish the black, hopeless rose within me. Oberon, by Spike Milligan. Orme Court, London, February 1967. The New Rose. The new rose trembles with earthly beauty. The babe sees the beckoning carmine. The tiny hand clutches the cruel stem. The babe screams. The rose is silent. Life is already telling lies. This was written on the day of Robert Kennedy's assassination, and it's called Values 68, from 1968. The prince is dying. Give him air. Headlines, crisis, Kennedy shot, the assassin captured. Too late. Kennedy dies. The telegrams flow and bury the body in Arlington. Somewhere in Mekong, the Prince of Battle is blown into bloody meat. No headlines, no crisis, and only one telegram. One telegram. The day of Robert Kennedy's assassination. Opus II. As I sip the midnight dark away and fading sounds from the sleepless radio, a beating chisel cuts your face in my eyes, and oh, how far away is Leicester that the stupid wooden cupboard I can touch from my bed. Have you a wooden cupboard in your room in Leicester? So that was from Small Dreams of a Scorpion by Spike Milligan. Now I'm going to move on to something a bit lighter, something that I wrote. Okay, so I have published a number of books myself, Jan Bung's Peaceful Protest in Nimbin being one of the more recent ones, and you can get these all on Amazon. And I'm just going to pick some poems out of that and do them for you to begin with. And this one's about a Komodo dragon. Why I wrote it, I don't know, but I did, so let's go. Don't get bitten by a Komodo dragon or you will be beaten. You will die and rot away. You fade away and then you'll be eaten. Komodo dragons slink around on Komodo Island. They are found. If you see a Komodo, run, please do. Not let a Komodo dragon bite you, or you will fester and rot into the ground, eaten by a Komodo dragon if it's around. So there, don't just leave them alone. All right, let's find another one that I haven't done before. The Notice Board of Dreams. Well, this one's actually pretty cool. This was written sitting in the main street of Nimbin looking at the notice board. Yeah. Here in the street of where we make dreams, not lonely and lost with direction it seems. 22 million to be won Superdor Saturday. 23 million with a mega jackpot play. Woofers are wanted to clean up my land, pulling lantana to give me a hand. Tuntable bush dance happening next week. Waters are running down in the creek. Caravan for sale if you want a home. Barry's mowing service, brush cutting and mowing. Foraging and survival skills taught at Rewild. Learn a skill set for an outdoor wild child. Awakening woman free workshop one day. Tristan the tradie, odd jobs any day. Forest temple share house, practice meditation. Do you know your true purpose? And a missing Alsatian. Hula hoop dance for beginners, fit, fun, fantastic. Nimbin Youth Film Festival, make a film like Jurassic. Two sister milking goats are up for sale, betwixt and between hanging rock hall at Wadeville. Kinesiology massage, flower essences too, Federal Park party stores and artisan food. Nexus Secret History of Australia Conference at Mullumbimby, acupuncture, earth dragon, Chinese therapy. I'd like to have a house swap for a couple of weeks. I have a 2-bedroom in Byron at Sunrise Beach. Please don't use 1080 baits on your land. 4 Canadian backpackers willing to lend a hand. Let's get physical. Comedy at the town hall. Hillary's cleaning service. Attention to all. At the Bush Theatre, the fun never ends. Medical cannabis workshop this weekend. Art in the Park, weather permitting Friday, queer karaoke. You don't have to be gay. Diana Anaid, leaving town soon. Birth and Beyond, community room. Nimbin Family Playgroup, Tuesday and Friday. Come celebrate the 20th annual Big Stripe Rainforest Day. Naya will make you feel alive. Hatha Vinyasa Yoga starts at 5. Osteopathy Reiki at the Inner Sanctum. Dreadlocks fixed naturally. I'll reskin your drum. Cleaner available. Please call Joanne. Leaving Australia, selling my high ace van. Island Vibe Festival 2018. Giuseppe signing Nimbin Hills Magazine. Earth Building Workshop. Build a home on your land. Online herbalist to give you a hand. Mugwort is wanted. Inquire within. Weave and Men Festival, learn to weave and to spin. Penelope Prana, morning sun salutation. Untangle with swift, affordable custom meditation. Coming up soon, Blue Moon Cabaret, Blue Cat Swing, Golden Hotel Saturday, Chihuahua Shih Tzu, microchipped vaccination. Come join our family's memorial celebration. Here in the street of where we make dreams, entrepreneurs with a direction it seems. Well, that's pretty much Nimbin. Basically, everyone's got a money-making scheme. All right, moving on from there to something that I've written a bit more recently. Well, I was watching the news. That's right. I was watching the news while I was waiting for in a place, and this is what came up. It's called the 9MBN News. Coming up, insurance rising, no straight answers, Polly's lying, man collapses, witch in black, rip off Dior, dredging's back, therapeutic plant opens, helicopter appeal, origin not over, paramedics thanked, mortgage stress, buy Virgin flights, Subaru for sale, Domino's tonight, Bali smugglers, pleads not guilty, exclusive reunion, new ambulance building, half price clearance, interest free, aluminium awnings on Ice Disney, mouthpiece reporting, another talking, injured player, now to the weather. Don is talking, media views, missiles keep flying, 6 p.m. news, king in carriage, life-saving research. It's the news. Ah, my brain hurts. Yeah, that was pretty much one of my more recently written ones. The Dunning-Kruger effect. And this is, very much to do with the problem of the anointed, the elite who think that they've, just because they've got a degree in something, know everything. The Dunning-Kruger effect. The less you know, the less correct are the opinions of those who never self-reflect. Do I know what I am writing about, or do I just think I do? I know that I have never had the learning experience of you. I've heard the less a person knows, the more arrogant they are, and argue until their face turns blue that something close is far. A rock is not a rock, and men or women are opinions of brainwashed robots known as the Dunning-Kruger minions. The dumbest never realise that their opinions are dumb, never self-reflect or question from where their beliefs come. In the age of social media and chasing likes and views, opinionated idiots masquerade as mainstream media news. The wisest are often the quietest, the intelligent think deep. The loudest in the room knows less, the wisest rarely speak. Do I know what I'm talking about, or just think I am correct? Am I judging without knowing cause, effect, or self-reflect? I know that I know little, and I have much more I can learn, that I need to walk the miles it takes work to lessons earn. I went from the peak of Mount Stupid to the valley of despair, but things are often more complicated to people everywhere. The Dunning-Kruger effect. This one is one where I was reflecting on Rumi. When Rumi said the lover is always lonely, was he right? Like clinging to the light in the darkest, moonless night, craving water in the desert with an unquenchable thirst, the desire of the last in the race to become the first. The lover is always lonely. The lover is always suffering from the loneliness of wanting their lover back to cling. The lover sits and contemplates the love poetry of Rumi, waiting for love's light to shine on loneliness, ever gloomy. The lover's heart is like a crystal shining very bright, lonely as their love is blinding, like the summer light. Yeah. The lover, the lover is lonely, the lover is always lonely, said Rumi. Right, now I'm going to move on to Bruce Beaver. So who is Bruce Beaver? Bruce Victor Beaver was an Australian poet and novelist born the 14th of February 1928 and passed away on the 17th of February 2004. He was born in Manly, New South Wales, educated at the Manly Public School and at the Sydney Boys High School. He worked a number of jobs as a cow farmer, in radio, as a wages clerk, surveyor's labourer, fruit picker, proofreader and journalist, before deciding to write full-time from 1958 to 1962. He lived in New Zealand and Norfolk Island. His first book of poetry was published in 1961, and he wrote his first poem in response to the dropping of the atomic bomb at Hiroshima. and continued to write even while working as a labourer. Thanks to his marriage, he was able to become a full-time writer, even though he suffered from bipolar disorder. Beaver was able to continue writing until close to his death in 2004. So I've got 3 Bruce Beaver books here, and the first one I'm going to read out of is Seawall and Shoreline, and I'm going to take the very first poem out of that, titled Ocean Beach. This was published in 1964, this book. Ocean Beach. By this seawall, we sat and spoke a while. Years ago, the night, you may recall, yellow electric light on sandy concrete, the squat and shadowy clubhouse crouching there, a small tame sphinx, unquestionably real, beneath us in absurd shorts and blazers, 5 or 6 youths drilling jerkily, sincerity in the clean scent of their efforts, reaching out to us from the blackness, distracting our blind gaze to the close dark beach, to the shadows ardently stamping on the sands. Then, without reason, to have felt the weight of loss in finding, lowering there, that shade, within the shades, embodied as the earth. How cold and dank the night air on our faces, watching with eyelids heavy, salt on our lips, while love, a tired warden, paced that crypt among the dull sarcophagi of stars. Now, only sea smell, sand smell, resin of pine, moistening the breeze, a drift of spray, turning aside, passing, memory is quelled. It needed ashes redolent of autumn to charm that bitterly enduring sea. Even ichor of spring's green fracture, something to soothe, to heal something hurt. Impossible to loiter, the past well lost, the place stupidly haunted, the grief of a ghost. That's called Ocean Beach by Bruce Beaver. Oh, here we go. This one's called Open at Random. This was published in 1967. Again by South Head Press, Grace Perry's publishing house. Open at random. All right, I'll do that then. And we come to the poem called Open at Random. That's random. Open at random. What are you looking for upon this page? Something you've found nowhere else? Or is it something that is so familiar and necessary to you that you cannot bear to be without it? Not for a moment. Not even though it was something I have found. Nowhere, not even thinking of you and the rest of us. What have you brought with you to this page? Some acquaintance with the words of others and your own? And something like suspicion of what? My inability to show you what you already know? Perhaps my refusal. On what grounds? Ignorance, perversity, embarrassment, perhaps at your blind peeking, at my dumb showing, at our deafening clash? How dare I lead you on with such shortcomings? To the next page, identically the same as this, save for some words and a pagination. How dare you drop the subject without turning over at least one new leaf this minute? This moment now, upon my very word, how dare we ask of poetry that which we may not bring to it, if it is there? You tell me this once, and I will write it, for you and myself, upon this page. Okay, I better open it random in another place and look for another poem. Well, let's go to Bruce Beaver, Letters to Live Poets. This one was published in 1969. Letters to Live Poets. Random page. So all the poems in this book, Letters to Life Poets, are numbered. So I'm just going to choose a number 28 because it's my favourite number. You're right, Adrian Henry. There should be involuntary euthanasia for everyone over 30, including poets. But let me have your opinion. Now that you're over 29 and a bit and schoolgirls in and out of knickers look and are sexy, much too athletic with it, you've got to tune down the transistor sometime, though you may have to listen to your own heartbeats in the process, even though the schoolgirls can't see for not hearing. And while we're at it, you and the umpteen thousand others who are going to be golden lads and lasses forever and never like vacuum cleaners come to dust, you're going to get tired of pelting one another with flowers. Oh, Rose, thou art sick. Remember? But you and all the other Liverpudlians, the rich ones with the sitars and the poor ones with dandruff, are right also when you say it's sicker and cruder to kill one another over flags, maps, trade agreements and disagreements than to want to opt out of it at all at 30. That isn't in the slightest brave. To want to fight for my husband and I and country only bloody stupid. Still, I wonder how many of you would have the courage to say, and I mean it, that you'd rather die than live by taking the life of an enemy. That's the game humanity's been playing for 5 millennia of recorded time. And don't for a moment imagine the enemy would feel the same as you. He might believe in the war game like some kind of sick faith. He might be piously filial and have for his grandfather an RSL president, deranged, for who in their right minds, under or over 30, could give a tuppenny for militancy? Only the institutionalised, things in uniform. Unfortunately, about 1/3 of the world's youth and the ambitious psychopaths of nationalism, 3 out of 5, alas, nominal adults, who may someday, sooner or later, be weeded out by the computers. You see, we are a minority, but if you're going to hate their guts, you're going to fight eventually one way or another. And the best way to fight isn't their way. It's to refuse to touch them no matter what. That way, you're going to prove all wars are always fought and hell is inhabited only by the genuine untouchables. You must have known offering flowers to enmity, wearing bells around the neck and mouthing, love isn't enough to live by. Certainly there's no pity or poetry in war. War's a thing, banal and murderous, as a cancer, poverty, or plague. Sane people breed in hope of peace, not to go against fellow strangers in a planned exercise of decimation. Even the breeding bits become as homicidal as a war. But that's another poem. I say, alive to live. That's writing poems. Not often enough good poems, but always from what's left of life. And that's not quite a lion's share. It's an interesting piece of writing by Bruce Beaver from Letters to Live Poets. So Loving Nimbin, along with Lust in Nimbin, was one of my early books that I published. I'm just going to read out of that. Something from page 68. What am I passionate about? Air, blue sky, water, ocean blue, crystal clear creeks, greenness, trees, broccoli, kale, lettuce, cannabis, yellow sun, and bananas, silver moon and twinkling stars, red sunsets, roses, and the blood in my veins. A kind of beige, pink, brown, brindle, tan, olivish skin colour. Oranges, lemons, and finger lines, melodica music, bearing witness to wrong, freeing education, voluntary simplicity, wellness, beauty, and beautiful people. Helping out reggae music and dancing, poetry and keeping fit, daily meditation and rejuvenation, freedom from all forms of slavery, peace and demilitarization and disarming of the entire world, including the removal of every single border, wall and fence. That's something, and the right of every human to a safe living, food, and a home, and a place to grow vegetables. Open source, love, new. That's what I'm passionate about. I have a friend who's sad. I have a friend who's happy. You'd never guess. He's as soft as a cloud, he's as strong as a hail, as thunderous wail, lightning sparks sail. I have a friend who'll never end, cries flooding rains, washes away pains, has a rainbow smile, only ever rains a short while. He comes and goes, we're going to know where Thundercloud blows. Goodbye, my friend, till we meet again, another time at the rainbow's end. That was written on the 29th of May, 2017. It's one of my very early poems. All right, Kenny, the television evangelist. All right, I could stand up for this. Well, I turned on the morning TV and I started to stare. The television evangelist was standing there. He stood in front of the crowd of many. The television evangelist's name was Kenny. Kenny yelled out, "You'll be in trouble and strife if you don't believe in love. You won't have eternal life." Well, I looked at Kenny and I started to think, what does this fella mean in the suit that's pink? Believe or be loved, be evil, be life. I think he means be love inside of your life. Be love in your life and your life will be well. Be evil, you make your life living hell. Well, I listened to Kenny and I listened quite well. He said, if you don't be love, your life will be hell. I thought once again about what Kenny said, and it made so much sense inside of my head. Why be unhappy and angry and mad when you can be joyful, ecstatic, happy and glad, and loving and caring and awesome and kind? Believe, be love, said Kenny in his lines. If you be love, you'll have eternal life, just like Jesus did and just like my wife. Because she believes in love and she believes in life, said Kenny. And that's the belief of my wife. Well, I listened to Kenny there in his pink suit with his Brylcreem hair. He looked quite a hoot in front of many people evangelizing. He was making sense to me and he was making me smiling because Kenny made sense in his Brylcreem hair and his pastel pink suit as he stood up there in front of the crowd of thousands of people in Church of Love that had a big steeple. I'm not saying that you have to be Catholic, Christian or Jew or even a Muslim or a Buddhist Hindu. No, just be love and believe that being love is so nice and make your life heaven just like Kenny and his wife. And I'm Thundercloud, and that's Wednesday Words here on the 2nd of July 2025. We are 1/4 of the way through the 21st century. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe and like it, whatever. Leave a comment. Tell me what you like the best, what poems you like the best. Because, okay, I'll do you one more poem. All right, okay. This one is from Poetry to End Prohibition. Yes, this was my book from 2020. Yeah, the 2020 edition. Smoke Shakespeare Inhaled. And this was inspired by the fact that they found a pipe in Shakespeare's garden and there was traces of, was it cannabis inside it and heroin or something? I don't know, it's cannabis at least. Dost thou inhale the silver sweet smoke of medicinal weed? Shakespeare inhaled, but not strange compounds dost he need. To smoke or not, to smoke or to not, but I questioneth what? Art thou inhaling weed smoke or art thou not? Hubble and bubble, the chalice bong bubble, cauldrons of butter and cannabis bubble, not a strange compound. It is to be, writing midsummer night sonnets, thou dost smoketh the weed. Boom. And that's from my book, Poetry When Prohibition, 420, the 2020 edition. You can get that here at the Australian Poetry Hall of Fame or at Amazon as well. I'll give you one more, hey? Shall I? Yeah. The yoga wars, all right. There was a clash of classes and Sunny cracked a shit. I was here before you today, and Angel said, suck it. I challenge you to a yoga battle, Sunny said to Angel. This is Warrior One, and this is here is Table. Sunny, with a bleached blonde hair and a pink leotard, did a cobra and an upward dog and held it very hard. You ought to salute the sun. I was here before you. Angel didn't flinch and went in. Angel didn't flinch and went into Warrior Two. Angel said to Sunny, Beep, you are a pain. You can't afford this leotard I got from Lorna Jane. Then she didn't salute the sun, and she did downward doggy toot. She flashed her ass at Sunny and said to her, Good. Sunny did a cat cow and then a warrior three. She raised herself up tall and did a mountain pose, then a tree. Angel took a deep breath and sat in lotus pose. She didn't move and sat there and thumped the snotty nose. Well, Sunny took a yoga mat and rolled it very tight. She whacked it into Angel's head with all the yogi might. The yoga wars began that day at the rising of the sun because Angel arrived before Sunny and got the best view of the sun. All right, now that is Wednesday Words for the 2nd of July, 2025. I'm Thundercloud. I'll see you later, washing away the garbage, leaving rainbows after rains. Boom.